What is up, Crockxen clan members, anime fans, and others who have stumbled upon this video? I'm SoresanCrockxen, and today we got another anime time with Soresan for you guys. And today we are doing Irregular at Magic High School. So let's get started. So the Irregular at Magic High School is a freaking awesome anime. I could I could probably call it one of my favorites of all time. So you could definitely expect this in the top 10 at the end of this of the year. So the Irregular Magic High School is basically the way the story goes is you have the two main characters that appear. There's Tatsuya and Mizuki Shiba. They're both brothers, or they're both brother and sister. They're brother and sister, and they're basically enrolling in high school for magicians. Now, in this world, or in this version of Earth, essentially what happens is that magic is used as kind of like it's like the norm essentially. Not everybody's a magician, but so those that are treated as like they're basically have like specific job markets for magicians, and magic itself is used as a resource. So there's magic that helps with like the military, or magic that helps with construction, or magic is basically a tool that replaces most of the material, or most of the tools that normal people have nowadays. So like it's technically like it's the future instead of like now. Here's the thing though, like magic itself, it's our technology in a sense. Like magic in the regular Magic High School is treated as technology for real life. It progresses throughout the years. It gets better, it gets improved, and it starts basically taking over the normal market. So magicians are basically treated as they're kind of like higher class citizens, and they go to specialized schools for those that have magic. And so the story takes place in Japan. Obviously, it's an anime, so most of the time we're gonna take place in Japan anyways. And the Japan itself is divided into different districts, and they each have their own high school per se. The one that we are most of the time surrounded by is the first Magic High School, which is the first one that existed in Japan. And then the other ones are basically numbered, sequentially. You have the second high school, and third high school, and fourth high school. Basically, when they started being created. Now, the schools themselves are divided. You have the higher class and the lower class. These are called blooms. These are called weeds. It's kind of like a way to differentiate those that are more talented, or more skilled, or have better abilities than the other ones. So with the way they display, or the way they show which one you are, is they have these things on the side of their arms. It's like a little emblem type of thing. Now, if you're a weed, or and you're in the lower class, it's gonna be just plain gray. If you're in the higher class, you're gonna have a flower on it. Thus, the term blooms. So the story itself, it has like three base arcs in it. You have the enrollment arc, which is essentially the brother and sister getting accustomed to their new school, their new life, and all that other stuff, and the process of kind of like fitting in. Because so you have Tatsuya, who's the older brother, and then Miyuki, the younger sister. Miyuki herself goes into the upper class, and then Tatsuya actually becomes a part of the lower class. Even though technically speaking, Tatsuya is better than Miyuki. The way they explain it later on in the series is that Tatsuya's magic is very specific, and it's only keen to like a certain aspect, which then renders the rest of any potential magic that he could have useless. So when they took the entrance exam, he technically was blocked by his own ability. His own powers basically blocked him from being able to succeed, and thus turning him to the lower rankings. Whereas Miyuki, who has a better control, and well, it's not really better control, it's just that her magic is not as complicated, was able to pass with flying colors. So the enrollment arc is that one. which is like I said, just them getting accustomed to their high school, and we meet a bunch of characters in this particular arc. After that arc, we have what is essentially the nine schools tournament arc, which is where all nine schools of Japan enter a tournament to determine which one is the best school in the in the whole country. And the way they do it is like kind of like the Olympics. You can kind of see it that way. They have different um, what is it? Different events, and they split them up between rookies and obviously those that are more advanced. And then you split those up between guys and girls, and then you basically all nine schools compete at a time in whatever event, and then they start ranking them up, and then they add up all the points at the end of the tournament. And this is where everything we kind of start learning about how what Tatsuya really potentially could be, because there's up to throughout the first and second arc, they're gonna start throwing this at you where you're gonna start thinking Tatsuya is not a human being. They have these particular moments where you honestly see him as a human being and he acts like a normal person, except for the fact that he has no emotions. Well, he has one, and he kind of iterates it. The only emotion he has is love and care for his younger sister. That's all he has. He has no other emotions. So we honestly just see him as a person who's the only thing that matters to him is his younger sister. And then they have other moments where you honestly think that there's no way this guy could be a human person. He must be some type of magically enhanced robot or something like that. They kept at least for me and a couple of my friends who watch the show. That's kind of the point they kept kind of showing you, like, oh, what is he? What is he? Is he human? Is he a robot? Or what could Tatsuya be? And then during the tournament arc, there is the only event he actually joins, because technically he doesn't go to the school to be one of those magicians that goes out and does whatever, like he doesn't go into the job market as a construction worker or the military, or he's not gonna go that way. He's gonna be more of the person that creates magic sequences. So he's basically gonna be what it's gonna be, a computer. He's gonna be working in writing codes, and because magic in here is not just, oh, you cast a spell. It's kind of like it's a sequence. Like I told you, it's technology. Magic in the show is technology to us. So it has like a specific code and a specific sequence. You gotta process it, and then you can use the spell. So he's basically gonna be in that field. The ones that work on that type of stuff and enhancing items that then allow the magician to use their magic and all that other stuff. So that's the field he's looking to go into. So in the tournament arc, that's what he was doing. He was working on his members, his team members. They're called CADs. There's different varieties. There's some that are guns. There's some that look like spoons, and there's others that look like gloves, and there's like swords. The CADs vary depending on the person. So basically, he worked on just working on that. He essentially programming those things to help the competitor. But then there was an incident where the specific team that was supposed to participate in this particular event, they were an opposing team kind of rendered them useless by cheating, and so that team got disqualified. And then the first team, or the first high, basically had to get a replacement by, well, they had to get permission from the president. The point is, he ended up having to join, and he brought two of his closest friends. And in the tournament, like when they reached the finals, they were facing, I believe it was the third. I think it's the third high school. I honestly can't remember. Anyways, the guys that he was facing were the two of them were well known. It's Masaki, and I think it was Ichiro or something like that. They are actual people who have been in like war already. They're in high school. Like for example, one of them is like a freaking massacre. Like he basically took down an entire, I think it was like city or something, or town. I can't quite remember. And then the other one just took out a whole militia by himself. So these are very skilled opponents. And Tatsuya himself has a resume that nobody knows about besides Miyuki and himself, and obviously the military, because he has like actual live combat skills. he has been in fights and wars and shit. Like, well, not really wars, more like top secret missions for like the really in deep like military type of stuff. So when they're in the fight, each or Misaki accidentally fires one a spell that is actually meant to kill. Like this was by accident, dude. Though, like he didn't mean to, because he knew technically abilities like that are illegal in the tournament because it could actually. Well, not only is it bad against for the tournament, you're committing a murder. In a freaking kind of it's a school setting, so it's he's technically committing murder, but it was by accident. And then so we honestly think that Tatsuya is dead, and then all of a sudden he goes through like this recovery sequence where he's basically like his body is restoring itself, and I'm like, he's got to be a robot. He's got to be a robot. Um, but then, like I said, at the end of the series, they kind of explain it. It's not that he's a robot; it's that he's a freaking god. The last arc is essentially there's this school. There's another school event, but this one's about technology, right? They have to create a device that's supposed to help, further magic's usefulness in the world. And then Tatsuya with another team of classmates basically are creating like a technically supposed to be like a nuclear what is it? A nuclear power source using magic. So you could clearly tell that magic is just essentially our technology just by that statement right there. And then it goes through this whole process of there's like uh, countries that are trying. I think they were trying to show off that China really wants to steal their. There was a lot of weird, crazy stuff that was going on when they tried to involve countries. It was kind of like random, and you really didn't understand most of the time which ones were doing what. I mean, the CIA was from the United States CIA was involved in something, but they were good guys though. But they were involved in something too, and I was like, wait, when the heck did the CIA show up? It was really random. Um, but so it's some I believe it was China that was trying to steal this technology or the technology um, for their own purposes, and this is like this whole like actual arc of them fighting against another like very like military quality opponents. And then Tatsuya, that's when they go off to explain what Tatsuya really is. And now he's technically a god because his magic, the thing that blocks off all other sequences that he could possibly do, is essentially the ability to turn back time by restoring like basically, let's say you got shot, right? You got shot in front of him. He can restore your or okay, hold on. Let's say you got shot and you're technically dead, and like 2 hours go by, or up to almost a whole day. He can come by and use his magic, shoot you with his magic because he has a gun. That's he's CAD. Shoots you, and you come back to life as if nothing had happened. Because what essentially he's doing is he's kind of reverting what happened, reverting the process, making it to where it had never happened. That's his magic. Um, or he can do the opposite, make something to where it didn't exist ever. So that's still the same thing. What the heck am I saying? He basically erases something that happened. He erases it from memory and time. That's his power. So clearly, there's there's a thing there. But overall, I freaking love the series. Tatsuya was a little OP for me at certain points throughout the series. I still like the guy. Honestly, I'm not a person who enjoys really overpowered characters, but the way they kept showing him off really made me like him a lot. So I don't know, it was just awesome. The transition of him looking like he was weak, or pretending to be weak. Well, it's not really like he was pretending to be weak. His whole godlike magic powers prevented everything else. So it was nice to see all the stuff that he could do. I highly recommend it. I'm gonna leave a link in the description so you guys can go watch the Regular Magic High School on Crunchyroll. It is out for free, so you can watch it. I believe the last episode still is gonna take like one more week before it's out for users. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this anime time. Rating, I would say a 9.2 out of 10. There was the second opening I was really mixed with. So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been SoresanCrockxen, and I'll see you guys in future videos.